What's going on, everyone? Ains here, Season Gaming, and we are finally back with a new statue unboxing. It has been a long time. Actually, the sad thing is I've had this statue for a long time now, several weeks actually. But if you watch Big Cash, you follow the channel, you know I had some family stuff going on. I was out of town for a while. So it's just been really delayed and trying to get back to it. So today, as you can see in front of you, we are looking at the Nathan Drake statue based on the Uncharted 4 model. Again, this is Prime 1 Studio. I've done a whole bunch of Prime 1 Studio statues, including Aloy, Jin, Kratos, and Atreus. I basically have the whole PS4 line going on over here. So we're going to take a good look at this one. This is the exclusive edition, which I usually get, of course. I'm going to unpack it, unbox it, talk about its quality, the design. I'll obviously show you an up-close detail of it, some more of a review. And then I think I'll also bring over at least one of the other PS4 statues, probably Aloy maybe, just to compare to it in terms of size and sculpt and everything else. So, been pretty excited for this one. Nathan Drake is one of those characters I always really liked in the game, so should be cool, should be cool. So, to start with the details on this, this is the exclusive. Like I said, they only made 300 of these, and one of the interesting things about Prime 1 is they've kind of lowered down their sizes, at least lately in some of these. So they only made 300 exclusives, and they only made 50 of the regular one. Regular goes for $12.99, exclusive goes for $13.99. This does come with an additional gun, I think the AK that you can have him hold. But the prices have kind of gone up as quality has increased, and then shipping has been crazy too. Because of everything going on post-COVID. So these have really gotten up there in price, whereas I started originally with the 1 to 4 statues, especially like the Witcher line, being about $700, $800, $900. These are now getting up into the $1,200, $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 range. So, you know, I'm a little more critical of the sculpt and the quality, the paint, etc. based on the price. So we'll talk more about that. As you can also see, I'm kind of set up in another temporary location. We've got this foldable table now. I'm probably going to use that more often because it makes it easier. And you can see some of the other things behind me here, of course, that we've done videos of in the past, including, of course, the monstrous Doomslayer here, which is still one of my favorite pieces. So let's go ahead. That's enough talking for now. Let's go ahead and get into it. So I'm going to get the core out of the box, and then we'll come back. Okay, we've gotten everything out of the box, and yeah, it's very in line with the other Prime 1 offerings in terms of look, feel, everything else. So one thing I'll credit Prime 1 for, they package everything really well. Everything's really safe. It looks like I've done a quick scan over all the pieces, and it looks like we don't have any issues, which is good. The one thing I did notice on the base here, and the base is a little lighter, more like Jin, I think, space. But you can see here, Nathan Drake, 129 out of 300 exclusive. The one thing that's interesting about the base is there's something rattling in it. That's never a good sign, of course, especially for something this expensive. The interesting thing is I've scanned over this quite closely, and there's no issues with the base. There's nothing broken, no chips, no nothing like that on any of these leaves or anything else. So I wonder if it's just some type of attachment inside the base that came loose during shipping. I don't really know. I'm gonna try not to think about it. Returning a statue, which I had to do if you followed the channel before a couple times, is a nightmare. So I'm happy to see at least right now that everything looks okay. Base looks really cool, as you can see, and I'll give you a closer detail of that here soon. Here's the core foundation, of course, which is Nate's body. The paint quality here is very similar to what I've said before about the other Prime 1. So it's good. There's some really nice texturing here. One thing that jumps out is that you can see the shading difference, see right here. So there's kind of this wetness paint, a gloss paint that's on various parts of his arm, his chest, which makes it look like he's wet and or sweating, which is quite cool. So I really like that. The one thing I will criticize is, before I do that, it's also on like his arms too. So it actually has like sweat beading on his arms and hands and appendages. So that's really cool. You can, if you see it up close, I don't think the camera's going to show it, but you can see it on the skin here. The one interesting thing that I was going to criticize is the skin is not the best. So it's, you know, it just not, I don't know, it doesn't look real in that same sense. It's very good in typical Prime 1 fashion, but again, as I said, I'm going to be a little more critical as we're going up in volume or value here. So I'd like to see them maybe work on the skin texturing in the future with their other models. All right, there is also, let me put this down, you know, part of this statue is this kind of age-old dead skeleton pirate that's hanging that will get set up here briefly. But this is really, really well done. The bones look fantastic, the aging on it, his whole skull face and like the teeth and everything else just looks incredible. So again, I'll give you a closer look at that here shortly, but it's really, really cool. The other thing this comes with is 2 different heads for Nate. One of them shows teeth and has a cut on his head. That's really about the main difference here. So I'll bring these around to show you up close. There you go. Oh, I'm trying to get these in front of the camera. So you've got, you can see the shading. The eyes are really nice. There's the cut on the head for the one, along with the teeth that show. So you just kind of pick which one you want. I don't know which one I'll go with. I'll probably go with the cut and the teeth, just because he looks more rugged. And then there's a whole bunch of little pieces to assemble here too. The instructions are actually kind of broad. So let me go ahead and start piecing this thing together, and we'll come back and give you a full overview of the statue here in a second. Okay, we are back, and here we are fully assembled. So, few things. So generally speaking, pretty good assembly. Everything slots in where it should. One of the weird pieces here was you have to put the skeleton together, and then he sits into his base right here. There are a bunch of like dangling bits, including his hands and his coat and everything, that have to slot just right. That was a pain in the ass. It wasn't really well thought out in how that would sit in. The magnetic piece on this arm here for this skeleton, if you can see my finger inside the cage here, that's not strong enough. So it's rather loose, which I don't like. It's not going to go anywhere sitting on display. But still, when they do the kind of plug-ins that, you know, magnetic, kind of like if you look at this arm, right? There's magnets on end, and it should see how it slots in really hard and solid. It's not going anywhere. That one's a little loose, which is not what you want to see. The chain piece at the top, there's a little chain piece right here that hooks into the wood. It's like a few millimeters short. You could technically heat it up, stretch it, that type of thing. It's always risky with statue pieces, so I'm not going to do that. Generally speaking, though, oh, and there's a couple things I'll show you when I spin around on these little plants you have to put in, which don't really make any sense. There's 2 tiny little plants you have to manually put in on the back that look just like this, but you have to do them yourselves. I don't know why they did that. It's very strange. Just to clarify on the exclusive edition, so this head with the cut that I showed you and the teeth is part of the exclusive edition. The AK that you'll see when I spin it around is part of the exclusive edition. And then he also comes with this extra holster here. So you can choose to put in just a straight arm where he's reaching, like this. And then the gun in the holster. Or you can have him shooting the gun with an empty holster, which I obviously need to switch out because he's not carrying 2 pistols, I guess, anyway. So you do like that. So now his holster on the side is empty, gun's in his hand, AK's on his back, and he's got the cut on his head. I think that's how I'm going to display it. It's not only the exclusive stuff, but I think it, you know, more represents what's usually going on in Uncharted, which is a lot of craziness. So anyway, you get those kind of all extra pieces and the AK with the exclusive edition. One thing I did forget to mention when I detailed the lot size and everything, they are sold out. So all 350 are sold out. You can go on a wait list. Sometimes people return them, sometimes people don't pay, and they get a handful. You know, obviously they keep a small reserve for damages or anything that happens during shipping. So you may be able to pick one a little bit down the line, but generally speaking, they're sold out. So really, really nice piece. It's definitely up there with Jin and Aloy in the sense of it really fits in with that theme. You know, Prime 1's really done a good job of kind of creating these new style bases which play into the game or the theme. You know, Jin's is amazing, Aloy's is amazing, this one's really strong too. I think the mold on Drake is really, really solid, especially the face, the eyes, kind of the texturing of all those things. His hair even is really cool. The skeleton's amazing. And I just like the mold, you know what I mean? It looks really cool having the skeleton and him kind of hanging, because obviously I like that they played into the theme of him kind of swinging around and everything you're doing in Uncharted. The one thing I would say is that as these go up in price, Prime 1 was always kind of the pinnacle for me, until you really get up into like the $4,000 and $5,000 statues. But I thought Prime 1 did an excellent job in their price range of video game statues. And if you've watched this channel and you know how much I raved about the first 4 Nameless King statue from Dark Souls 3, Prime 1's going to have to step it up. First 4, I'm looking at Nameless King, he's back there in the corner, he's probably just off screen, yeah. That is on a higher level than this. Price, relatively similar, but the paintwork and just the detail on certain aspects of that statue compared to the Prime 1 models, I'm typically looking at, they've upped their game. First 4 is right there. I would say that's probably still the best gaming statue overall for the price that I have as I look around the room here. But anyway, I think for the price, this is still a magnificent piece, especially if you're collecting, a big fan of Uncharted or Nathan Drake, or you're collecting the Prime 1 pieces, you're a PlayStation fan, whatever have you. So let me go ahead and spin this around a little bit. I can kind of show you some of the details. So you can kind of display it like that if you wanted, with Drake kind of swinging at you. There's not a whole lot to see on the backside. Just the wall and everything. Let me turn it all the way around. It's got kind of these sticky rubber feet on the bottom, so it's kind of a pain to spin. But you can see the detail, you can see the AK, which is nice. Obviously, I like the angle that this thing kind of looks crooked and broken and everything. The detail and the vines coming up. The paintwork on the base is pretty solid. It looks aged, it looks stone. I think they can up it a little bit when it comes to kind of the realistic weathering. It looks a little better on camera. In person, it looks a little more kind of plasticky, I guess would be the word. Still very nice. I'm being very critical right now, but it's still very, very well done. I would have liked to have seen on this AK the strap that goes across, like with Geralt and some of the other ones. They're actual real leather, they're real metal. This is not. This is just not plastic, but the resin. There's plastic and or resin on some of these pieces, which again feels a little cheaper for what you're paying here. But otherwise, the metal on the cage looks fantastic. The skeleton's amazing, really, really well done. Drake's mold and his fit and his kind of look, even the skin texture, the face detail that I showed you is really, really well done too. Here's these crazy, where are they? These crazy little plants you had to put in manually like yourself, which doesn't make any sense because there's tons of other ones on the mold that are there already. So I don't know why they did that. But anyway, Nathan Drake statue, Prime 1. It's quite solid. Let me step over and I will bring Aloy over to kind of give you a comparison, because these are kind of a theme that Prime 1 is doing with the various kind of PlayStation first party IPs. So let me bring that over. Be right back. All right, there you go. I actually brought Jin over instead. I switched it up on you. So the video of Jin is obviously out there on the channel, but you can kind of see, that very similar kind of design aesthetics in terms of a statue. The one thing, Drake, looks a little bigger here. It is a little bigger display just because of the design of it than Jin or Aloy, I'd say. But in terms of the 1:4 scale, the actual character mold, the details on everything, it's very, very similar. One thing I'm noticing, which is kind of funny, is that his straps here and the pieces you add on, like I said, the AK strap is all kind of resin and or plastic. Funny thing is, on Jin's swords here, all the ropes and everything that goes around his body are actual cloth. So I don't know why they kind of made that kind of detail on, knocking his sword off. Why they made that detail on one statue but not the other, I'm not really sure. But, that's how it goes sometimes. Sorry, Jin, let me put this back here. Scared me to death when things fall off of statues. All right, I think I've talked enough. Stay tuned at the end here. I'll give you some high-res pictures of Nathan Drake. But another good statue from Prime 1. Just a few things in terms of season gaming. So if you're not already hanging out with us every week on the Big Cast, we are live every Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, talking about all the biggest topics in gaming across the industry and all platforms. Lot of technical insight, legal insight, just industry insight. So if you like gaming in general and you want to get your news and get your kind of hang out with a really, really nice community, stop by the Big Cast, hang out with us. Of course, I have more statues on the way. I think I have Banjo-Kazooie. I have a Dark Souls 3 Knight. There's a couple others I'm going to forget. Oh, I have Reed from, Idris Elba's character from Phantom Liberty and Cyberpunk coming. So there's always more on the way, so we'll get back to it here soon. Otherwise, as always, I just want to thank you for hanging out with me, with the delays and everything else going on the channel. Your support means an awful lot. So thank you for that. And, hope you enjoyed this. If there's anything I can do better in these videos, of course, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Otherwise, I will go ahead and get out of here. I'm going to put these on display, and we're going to have a nice lineup of more statues over in the corner here. So until next time, thank you as always for checking out Seasoned Gaming. I'm Ains, and I will see you then.